Creating a healthier planet requires a lot of work and a constant flow of new innovations in the energy sector. Actual solutions like biofuels are needed to fight the effects of climate change. Neste creates sustainable choices for the needs of transport, businesses, and consumers. The use of biofuels in aviation has faced both regulatory and scientific challenges. Creating more efficient manufacturing processes while lowering the costs is the solution for the future.
When we think about turning a wide range of vegetable oils and other waste into aviation biofuel, how hard of a scientific problem are we talking about?
Actually, there are a couple of challenges related to this. The first one is about purifying the feedstock, because we need really to purify it in order to be able to process it further. And the second challenge is then to refine these feedstocks in the processing unit to such high quality products that these demanding businesses demand.
And how about then in the process from there on? What are some of the problems during that process to get the commercial product ready?
So we need to tailor-make the hydrocarbon chains to the proper length for the application in question. So that means that if we are producing an aviation fuel, the length of the hydrocarbon chain has to be in a certain span. And furthermore, due to the properties of this hydrocarbon, such as cold properties, we also need to tweak the molecules in a way that we have a certain branching and isomerization of the final product.
So when was the first time you started experimenting with these technologies?
Okay, so Neste has a very long tradition for decades already to work with in innovative ways in order to generate high profits from low-quality feedstocks and producing high-quality products. That was true already in the fossil era. And so in the mid-90s, that is 25 years ago, our researchers investigated the use of certain renewable feedstocks, such as tall oil, in processing in our fossil refinery in certain processing units. So actually this trial started already then.
And well, when you invent something in laboratory settings, that's a different thing than doing it in industrial scale. How are those different?
I think that's a really good question, because what we are doing is we try to separate, when we examine a new idea, we try to do as much as possible in a small scale where we have a high accuracy of analysis, etc., to really understand the chemical phenomena, those that you can do in small scale. Then there are always some phenomena that you cannot study in small scale. Those you then need to do in a bigger scale. But in this way we save a lot of time and money. So we try to separate the challenges into those physical phenomena and those which are of chemical character, and solve them and look at them in different ways.
And how do you evaluate these innovations? Because after you bring it into commercial settings, those are huge investments. So how do you evaluate when you don't know for sure will it work in industrial settings?
So we have to do enough work that we know that our concept is going to work in the scaling up, which is many times, it's many thousands of times scaling up from the lab scale. So we really have to trust our data and our results. Once we have done it, of course, then we need to have a business calculation. What about this innovation? Can it really have a market? Is it really something that will give us profitability or not? And of course, it's always, when you do new things, it's partly also gut feeling. So we have to have a belief in this business opportunity.
And then you have to have loads of different innovations, for example, to get the feedstock and then to bring it into a market. So it requires a lot of group work and a lot of involvement in all parts of the company.
I think that's actually one of the strengths with Neste. Even if we are in Finnish terms a very big company, globally we are a small energy company, and that gives us some merits and some advantages. It means that we can move quite fastly, and we have developed a way of working inside the company that we do things together, so we are not in silos. And this creates the opportunity for us to very smoothly and quickly develop valuable supply chain. So everything from sourcing the feedstocks to processing them and to bringing them to the end customers is working in a smooth way.
I would actually assume that there's a difference in public perception in different countries about what kind of sources, like which kind of plant-based oils are accepted. Is that true?
It's very true, and actually it's quite interesting to see how the views vary in different countries. All stakeholders actually seem to have different perceptions. That's why it's so important for us to have the flexibility and the capability to utilize a broad range of waste streams in our production.
So these are technologies that are part of a solution to fight climate change. Are you optimistic about the future in preventing climate change or even the worst case scenarios?
Well, I mean, I'm very proud and happy to be amongst teams and people and working in a company that is actually bringing solutions to the world in reducing the effects of climate change. So at the time we are producing the renewable diesel, which is actually corresponding to taking out the whole car fleet from Finland in terms of carbon dioxide emissions. So we are doing something good, and this generates energy. I don't think it is beneficial for mankind to become depressed with climate change, but we need rather to see an opportunity in developing solutions to combat it.
These technologies at hand, are there any secondary uses for them? Now we're talking about aviation or biofuels in general.
So what we are doing today is using these renewable hydrocarbons in aviation fuels, in road transportation fuel. They can also be used in maritime fuels. And also, as another option would be to use these hydrocarbons as a feedstock for making renewable plastics and chemicals and new materials. And that is also something we are working with today.
What are some of the research areas and technologies you keep an eye on?
There are many of them. I would say that the common denominator for all of them is that we are looking at carbon sources which are in abundant and which are waste. So we are looking into lignocellulosics as residues from agricultural industry, forest industry. We are looking at algae oil as a potential primary energy source for hydrocarbons. We are looking at municipal solid waste, that is really using the waste that we are producing to making valuable products out of it, and also looking into carbon dioxide utilization together with renewable electricity for making hydrogen. So very interesting opportunities out there. It is very important for us when we look at our own history with innovation. It has been in the backbone of our company for decades, and the present success in renewables is also based on innovation. And we really want to be among the companies who promote all kind of technological innovation throughout the world.